You're on full right now.
People like watching actions run, so. Hold on.
Come on.
Go ahead.
Good?
Yep.
Fuck yeah. What's up, guys? Of course you know me, and this is a regular guy. And so if you found my channel, I assume you've probably found his channel. Obviously he's pretty well known.
I'm a big deal.
He's kind of a big deal, like you just said.
Not really.
So we just we just spent 2 days doing Pistolcraft 1 out here at Valor Ridge. What was your impressions?
Well, as far as my impressions are concerned, like I've taken dozens of classes, shot over 145,000 rounds now. Between this and Rifleman last month, I've taken a couple additionally. So I've made my way around the little fucking wagon once or twice as far as the training circuit is concerned in the civilian world, and comparing that also to military training, which quite honestly is pretty sorry. So my impressions of this, and just looking back at a lot of other pistol courses, a lot of times you get one of two things. It's either we're going to focus the entire class on hitting shit, or we're going to focus the entire class on a little bit of hitting shit and then speeding up the entire class. Generally speaking, that's what you find. I found that to be the case for both, you know, and a lot of times I felt, you know, you could actually take your own little road as far as what you needed out of a specific drill, because we did a couple of qualifications on a police basis, like a standard police qual, and we did the FBI qual as well. Those are both timed. Now, if you're in a state where you're just getting into this and stuff like that, and you're just trying to get your hits, which is extremely valuable, you know, time wasn't a factor. You just press the shots, get the hits in the certain distances at a weird position.
And you'll actually not even hear the buzzer if you're just focusing on what you should be.
Which is what you should be doing in the first place.
Right.
If you're a dude that's been in the saddle for a little while, shot a bunch of rounds, I was racing the clock the entire time. Now, did I scoot a couple of rounds out because I was racing time? Absolutely. But it's about figuring out what you need, and the curriculum is expanded enough to where it can fill both of those niches, to where a dude that's been doing this for a long time, or has just done it a lot, or the guy that's just getting into it, can seek an equal amount of value pulling it out. Because I tell you what, like, it's a lot like the gym, where the minute you start moving and doing everything you got to do, and everything fucking hurts, right? And you're getting massive gains really quickly and doing all this other shit, and then suddenly you've been doing the same thing for a while and the pain goes away and you plateau. It's the same thing with shooting. So as far as shooting and stuff like that is concerned, you're constantly trying to find little things here and there that you can add to the current skill set that you have, as well as maintaining a bunch of other things. So this is another one of those schools that'll make you uncomfortable. It'll make you, whether you've been doing it a while or not, it'll make you do some shit that you've never done before, in one way or another.
In a good way. In
a good way, yes. Always in a helpful way. And everything that's done here is done without a bravado to it. Like a lot of times, and you can see it too, a lot of schools are kind of full of themselves in a way. There's none of that here. The emphasis on Reed and JJ or Scott or whoever's teaching is always on the guys. It's always on getting you to live through that and to, you know, stop the bad guy from doing whatever it was that he was doing.
Of course, just like anything else I talk about, the idea of this school is fighting with your gun, so keep that in mind.
And it's funny because a lot of the interwebs and whatnot gets really tied up between fighting techniques and competitive techniques and everything else, and they get tied up on a lot of superfluous bullshit. They really do. I just posted a video about the difference between fundamentals and techniques. They really are that separate. This whole thing is not difficult. It's actually quite simple. Getting to a certain skill level that you want to get to, that's not easy, but you know, there's differences there. So it's definitely a different type of school in that you can truly tell it's for the development of the dudes that are there. You know?
Agreed.
So really, that's all I have on it, for the most part, is that it's a place that people can go and train and develop individually instead of having to worry about a group cast of people.
Cool.
So
Cool. Yesterday, Reed asked us one thing that we learned, and in the day, at the end of the day, and I totally agreed with you, and you already told me you're going to make a video on it, so just quickly go ahead and just kind of do a rundown of that, what that was that you learned yesterday.
well, there were a couple of things that were pushed on pretty hard. The number one is, just getting into weird, getting into weird positions.
What I was actually referring to is the whole...
Oh, yes. Well, that actually does encompass it a little bit.
Right.
Doing weird shit and getting into weird positions. A lot of times people just try to get away from that type of stuff.
Right.
I was taught a way to do double feed malfunction clearance that was based off of Paul Gomez. If you don't know who he is, check him out too. Because he's actually smart as shit. But it was a double feed malfunction, one-handed, that you can clear with one hand by just kind of karate chopping your fucking opposite thigh with your forearm, and the magazine comes out of there. It'll work for some guns. It won't work for others.
Right.
So you have to figure out what it is that you've got. If it is a fantastic plastic gun like an M&P or a Glock 19 or whatever it is that you're carrying, generally speaking, it's going to work. The metal on metal guns have issues.
Right.
But
and he already said he's going to do a video on this. I assume he'll go in a little bit more in depth on that. So as soon as he posts that, I'll put a link in here just so you can go find exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it'll be on malfunction clearance and stuff like that. So
right.
It'll cover the whole gambit, but that'll be in there.
It was awesome. I really liked that too. And then, I mean, I can't just say one thing that I learned from this class, but that was just something that was really, to me, stood out. So that was good. Well, I appreciate it. And of course, we're always here to learn, so thanks for watching.